All right. Welcome back to another edition of Who You Got / KC Sports Authority. Because we got a special guest today. Keegan's joining us. But if you don't know, I'm Greg, he's Jimmy, and he's also Keegan. We're all here tonight. If it's your first time joining us, do us a favor, hit that like, subscribe button after, and recommend us to a friend. Keegan, tell them what they can get. This is normally the time where I plug your channel. Tell them what they can get over there at KC Sports Authority.
Yep. If you're in the Kansas City area, of course, a sports fan, and you're watching this, thank you so much for watching Who You Got. You can check out our YouTube channel as well at KCSA Pod or KC Sports Authority. Talking all things Chiefs, Royals, KU football, KU basketball. We do a little of our own sports betting, fantasy football stuff, but been excited to cross over with you guys over the last couple of weeks and kind of share content, and looking forward to getting into football talk and really diving into all that because we're coming into one of the most fun times of the year for sports. So yeah, you can check us out Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok as well at KCSA Pod. Weekly episodes, sometimes 3 or 4 episodes a week. Just kind of depends on what we got going on.
Well, boys, I always think I know how I'm going to start the show, and then something happens. Hours before we were set to start this recording, the huge news comes out. Parsons traded to the Packers for a couple first-rounders and a defensive tackle. Clark, I don't know. I think they could have got more. I think they panicked. What do you think? Initial reactions, Keegan?
I like the move for the Packers. This gives them a very, very solid piece on that defense to pair with a pretty solid offense in a division that is one of the deepest right now. And that was definitely a huge need for them. They've needed to improve their pass rush the last couple of years. That's kind of been one of the Achilles heels for them. So love the move for that. I don't know if I like it for the Cowboys just yet. 2 firsts is great, but I think he's one of those generational type players where you could have gotten more. So it'll be very interesting to see over the next couple of days as the information comes out, how many teams were involved, how realistic was Jerry Jones and some of his asking prices and shopping him around. I think if anything, though, the contract was probably looking at that. I mean, he's getting like 45 to 48 million a year for the next 4 years.
Yep.
I don't know how any team could sign up for that. The Packers, I guess, they really have nobody else under contract outside of Jordan Love for the next couple of years, so they can do it. But obviously, that took out a lot of your contenders because there's just no way. I can't see how in this world you could justify a $45 million a year player who's not scoring touchdowns for you. So that probably would have scared me off as if I was a franchise or a general manager. I certainly make that call because everybody knows this was bound to happen. If the fact they couldn't sign him last year or at the beginning of this offseason, it was inevitable he was going to get moved. But it does make you wonder if it's kind of like the Luka for Anthony Davis trade. Were there other options out there? How much did they float that around? Was it behind the scenes? I mean, it was reported for a couple of days now that the Packers had a deal on the table, but you really didn't hear anything else around the league on, the Bills are trying to upgrade their pass rush. The 49ers, you didn't hear anything else. And so that was a little surprising to me, but good for Micah Parsons. He gets the bag, rightfully so. And he gets to change scenery, which is probably good for him. I think long term, though, it's actually good for the Packers because as long as they have Dak and CeeDee Lamb locked up with those contracts, I don't think they could have given Micah Parsons that kind of money and expected to be a contending team for the next couple of years. Huge loss to their defense for sure. But from a fantasy perspective, definitely your stock on all their offensive weapons just went up because they're going to have to score 40 points a game.
I'm with you there. And I think you hit the nail right on the head, is that they got so many rookie contracts. The Packers were the team that could afford to back the truck up, and they did. Jimmy, you think this makes the Packers that much more dangerous to a team like the Lions?
I do. I mean, I know the line flipped on it, and the Packers are now the favorite to win the division. Look, he's a big impact player. I know it's been said often, and that's why they're worried about it, similar to Cincinnati, that without Hendrickson, they were bad without him. What are they with him? What are they going to be without him? The Dallas defense wasn't great, right? Like, they weren't great anyway, and Micah Parsons is great. I'm more surprised they didn't sign him based on the fact that Jerry likes to have big names. I know he doesn't like big egos in the room with him, but that's usually from a coaching perspective, right? Of somebody calling the shots. So I'm really surprised this didn't get done. I do think that Green Bay certainly won, only giving up 2 first-rounders. For Dallas, they're theoretically not going to be high first round picks, right? I mean, Green Bay is going to be a pretty good team. They're going to be late first round draft picks. I know they still have a lot of value, but it's not like they're going to be top 10 selections, right? I mean, we figure they're going to be somewhere in the 20s theoretically. So, I mean, I'm interested to see what happens. I don't think it puts them past Detroit, personal opinion, but hey, they got Reggie White, and that went a long way. Maybe this is their Reggie White moment of the 2020s.
Yeah, no, look, I'm with you. I think it's overreaction city for 3 hours in here to the news dropping. The Packers are now giving 2.5 week one. Jimmy Call already said it. They're now the division favorites. The line, you can now grab 7.5. If you were waiting for that half point with the Cowboys, you just got it. The Eagles are now giving 7.5. So I think we're overreacting a little bit. But the good news is on this show, we're going to break down all the divisions in the NFL, give you all our futures. So we'll get to that in a minute, but we had to start there. Now I'm going to jump to what I was going to start the show with. And Keegan, I got to tell you, I almost sent you a text and said, I don't even know if I can have anyone named Keegan on the show today. That's how pissed I am. I cannot believe Keegan Bradley passed on himself on the Ryder Cup team and went with Sam Burns. I was literally shocked at 11:20 a.m. yesterday, Eastern Standard, when I heard him say my last pick, and it wasn't him. I literally threw my phone. I was that pissed off. I cannot believe he did not pick himself. I understand what he's saying. I get it. Don't be the captain. All you wanted to do was play on this team in 2023. Say, all right, you know what? I'm going to play. We're going to make this person the captain. He's been right with me the whole way. That's why you have vice captains. Gentlemen, this guy is ranked 11th in the world, not 11th in the U.S. I know he was 11th in the standings, but he's 11th in the world. There are players who aren't from the U.S. in those rankings ahead of him, so he's even higher in America. We are a better team with Keegan Bradley. And if they win, everyone's going to say he did the right thing. But if they lose, Keegan's going to take a lot of heat for not playing. He just is. We were a better team with Keegan. I'll throw it to you guys.
Go ahead, I mean, I agree. The numbers play out. It wouldn't have been him cherry picking himself. Like if we just went by the rankings and what the players have earned, Keegan should have been in it. Again, hopefully they do win it, and then it goes down as a selfless move. He was able to be the captain of the team, and someone else got shine. And Burns got to play. But if they don't win, it's going to be very, very questionable. Sometimes this is like it doesn't feel like a selfless decision. It feels like the wrong decision. That's just my take.
Look, I'm okay. Sam Burns, if he gets hot with the putter, it's going to be rough on some people. I get that point. I do. But Keegan should be on the team, and I got to tell you, Maverick McNeely, he was snubbed. This guy earned his way on the team, in my opinion, being 10th in the standings, and he didn't make it either. Harmon, we pretty much figured, but I mean, I'm so mad. Keegan, what's your thoughts? Do you not want to be called Keegan this week? That's what I would say.
So I don't follow golf super closely. I didn't realize that it was kind of a tradition that whoever is the captain traditionally for the last 62 years hasn't played in the Ryder Cup. I didn't realize that.
That's because usually they're fucking 50 years old.
Yeah, they're old.
Yeah.
But Keegan Bradley's probably in the prime of his golf career, and yeah, you mentioned 11th. He's having a pretty solid year. I wouldn't say he's super hot right now, but he's one of the hottest golfers this year right now, and so it is kind of intriguing. I was kind of reading some of his comments while you were talking. He definitely took his role very seriously as captain and said, hey, my first priority was to do justice by the job that was given to me, not look at it from my own personal gain. So I guess credit to his leadership skills in that. But you have an opportunity to play in the Ryder Cup that he's literally talked about doing his entire life, and the opportunity's right there in front of yourself. Doesn't do it, it'll probably be one of those decisions looking back that either way, had he picked himself and been the first one, people would have been like, oh, you selfish, you didn't play well. If he doesn't pick and they lose, then yeah, he's going to get blamed for why didn't you play? You could have had a chance to help your team win.
Yeah, and he did play once, but they did not win. He played on one Ryder Cup team and they got beat. But he is now, and I was reading an article of the top 10 biggest Ryder Cup snubs. He's now 2 of those 10. One in 2023, which was an absolute joke. If anyone watched the Netflix First Swing, you saw the call come in. It was just Zach Thomas made the worst decision I've ever seen by not putting Keegan on the team in 23. And now Keegan did it to himself. He snubbed himself. But hey, like Jimmy said, hopefully we win, and then we don't have to worry about it. We'll see.
I mean, the rest of the team's still pretty solid.
The team's good. It is, but we're better with Keegan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be better if he was there.
And the European team is obviously really, really good. We need our best. I mean,
I kind of like, this is not a great comparison, but look at the NBA All-Star game this last year. LeBron like shows up, but doesn't show up in uniform, says he's not playing while everybody else is dressed in uniform, and he goes through the team pictures in his street clothes, and it's like, I mean, you're there. You might as well be playing. If you're not going to play, then just don't even be there. Different situation, but kind of interesting cross comparison there. Like, you're there, but you're not going to actually help your team physically by playing.
I have been addressing this, Keegan, probably every week, right, Jimmy, since June.
Yep.
And what I've been saying the whole time is if I was Keegan, I'd play on the team, and I'd play in the afternoon sessions, and then obviously in the singles because you have to. But that way you can put in who you need to. You can watch the morning matches. You play 3 matches, and we're better off because you're probably going to take at minimum 2 points. But it is what it is. I'm still going to bet the U.S. heavily because I'm a degenerate and I love them, and that's what I'll do.
And they should win. And they should win.
I mean, look, it's going to be a very competitive Ryder Cup. Both teams are stacked. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think we have some experience. I think Sam Burns brings that experience, so I think putting him on the team, all right. And I know him and Cantlay can be a good duo together, so we'll see what happens. And him and Scheffler are best friends, so they could be a good duo together. I think it's Cantlay and Xander that have been really good together, actually. So we'll see what happens, and you can guarantee I'll be on and giving picks out that week. All right, Jimmy. I'm going to give you your time that you wanted. We'll do an MLB update real quick. The Mets are surging. The Red Sox are been better. But go ahead, Jimmy. You called it. They were going to do well against the Phillies in this series, and they did. So go ahead.
Yeah, look, I said they had to go 5-2 over the next 7, and they went 3-0 against the Phillies. They beat the Phillies 9 games in a row now. They're getting their – well, they're not getting their ass kicked, but they're down 4-2 right now to the Marlins, which is pathetic, but it's really early in the game. Clay Holmes is getting bombed. But Senga had a decent outing. I talked about last show, bet that game they were going to win. They did. Senga got the win. Manaya didn't have a great showing the next game, but he hung tight. And Senga got him 6 innings. I mean, they only had to use 3 relievers there. Then the next night, what a game. 9th inning, tied up. Philly brings the reliever they got from Minnesota in. They get 4 singles in a row, win the game on a walk-off. And then last night, the kid I was talking about, Nolan McLean, they have another prospect they can call up. I doubt they will this late in the season, but what a story. Nolan McLean gets called up from Syracuse. He's 3-0. He went 8. So a rotation that typically goes 4 or 5 at best has this kid who's now 3-0, 8 shutout innings. They dominate Philadelphia. They take all those games. Again, the game's still young right now. I'm assuming Clay Holmes is going to get pulled. But I thought if they could go 5-2 in this 7-game stretch, they've got 25 games, like we said, in September, and it's a murderer's row of teams that they're up against. But they do have 3 more against Philly. So, look, I think they're going to lock up the wild card. I don't think the Reds are going to catch them. And I don't think they're going to win the division, but sweeping the Phils just put it back in play.
Yeah, only 4 games out right now.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Boston has been doing what they need to do. And I think the shocking thing that people don't realize is their run differential is 108 to the good. So, I mean, they're right there with the Dodgers. I think they're tied 4th for the best run differential. Boys, my 30-1 shot that I bet back in the beginning of June is live.
I remember you texting me this before the baseball season started. We were talking about long-term future plays. You were like, everyone's down on the Red Sox. You know, they lost Tristan Casas. Rafael Devers doesn't want to play and be nice. Like, no one's going to count them as a potential threat. And then here they are over the last, 10 to 12 weeks, one of the best teams in baseball. They're the AL East, like, I think this is one of the craziest AL East years I've ever seen, where literally all of their teams are legitimate playoff caliber teams. Toronto's just on an insane run. But yeah, the Boston's been incredible. Who knew trading Devers away was actually going to make them better? Mm-hmm. All their young talent's been incredible. They've been fantastic. And the more they play, the better they get. But man, the AL wildcard race is just freaking nasty. But yeah, props to you for digging that one early and getting out ahead of it before they became a popular pick.
Yeah, I'll be very happy if I can cash 30-1 for them to win the division. I also got, as we talked about on this show, I hedged out, but I had them in the back end of a big future parlay to make the playoffs. That's in. If I can get Jimmy's dumb Mets to come along with me, I'll make even more money on a future parlay because I had the Mets to make the playoffs. I thought that was a lock, and it looks like they will now.
They should. I agree with Jimmy. I don't think Cincinnati's got enough to catch him. De La Cruz just hasn't had the same year that you expect him to. Not that he's been bad, and some of their supporting cast has been better than expected too. But the Mets just have too much talent, and for them to go out and lose a wild card spot now, I think I would be surprised.
But what I want to know from you, Keegan, is two things, actually. Can Kansas City keep the surge going and catch the Mariners for that final wild card? And what is the general feeling in the Kansas area?
Well, let me start with the second question. I think the general Royals fan right now is about 6 days away from not caring. As soon as the Chiefs and Chargers touchdown in Brazil, it's going to be all Chiefs. I say that despite that the Royals are having a good season to our standards in Kansas City. If we were 2 games out of the division and we already have a wild card spot, I think the conversation is very different. This team's just too inconsistent. Now, the offense has been one of the 5 best offenses since July or since post All-Star break. They have been averaging over 5 runs a game. I think they are like number 4 in the American League or in all of baseball with runs scored since then. They have flipped their run differential like plus 40 in the last 4 or 5 weeks. But then they drop a stinker to Chicago. They still have an uphill climb. I think when I was talking to somebody the other day, they have to finish like 20-10 to have a realistic shot at winning a wild card. And even then, I think most of our fan base would tell you everybody that's ahead of us right now, better teams. We get into a series with the Yankees. The Yankees are one team, despite how good the Yankees are, they are a team I think we could be in a series. I think we match up well with them, especially playing in Kauffman. The Yankees defense has just been so bad. But again, they can mash 7 home runs a game the other night. They could do it. I don't really have a lot of confidence the Royals are going to finish in a wild card spot. Can they? They certainly are still right there. The big thing for them is they've had a favorable schedule for this last half, as long as they take care of business. So they can certainly do it. They got a massive series with Detroit this weekend. If they take 2 out of 3 from Detroit at home in Kansas City, then yeah, you're right back within a game and a half or 2 of the wild card. But again, the AL East, it doesn't look like the Yankees are dropping off. Doesn't look like Boston's dropping off. So it has to be the Mariners. And honestly, the Mariners could still win their division, but they've been shaky. Cal Raleigh's doing his thing, but they've been a little shaky the last couple of weeks. It's going to be a tight race down the stretch for sure, but I would not feel confident that the Royals are going to make it to the playoffs. And I think I'm okay with it. I think the fan base realizes the missing pieces were not going to happen at the trade deadline this year. It's going to have to be in the offseason. So I think most of us are fine with however the season ends, great, as long as we finish above 500.
So you think the Mariners are that much better than the Royals?
They've got a good pitching matchup. Reagan's still being out right now. Ryan Burgert's looked good in his rookie debuts with us. But if you go off the pitching matchups, I mean, Brian Woo's been really solid this year for them. So I think that really gives them in a 3-game series, it's an almost even split. But the Mariners' power potential is just a night and day difference. Now the Royals, like I said, the Royals have been hot. Vinny's hit, I think, the 2nd or 3rd most home runs in the American League since the All-Star break. And he's having a career year. He's going to finish above 100 RBIs, finish with 30-plus home runs. Salvi's been fine. But the Mariners' home run potential could just break open a game. And the Royals they're getting to that point where their bullpen's getting a little taxed. Lucas Erceg's hurt again. They're kind of coming down the stretch here, and the bullpen's starting to waver. So I would still give the edge to Seattle in a series right now, just because of that home run potential.
So you would not endorse plus 350 for the Royals to make the playoffs at this point?
Oh, I'd still endorse that because it's a good value play. Yeah,
okay.
If you want to make money, sure. Now, if you're talking about a big stake, I don't know. But if you're just looking to, hey, can I take $50 and do something with it? Yeah, that's still a good enough return.
Yeah, the reason I bring it up is I don't believe fully in the Mariners. I just don't trust that team. And at the beginning of the year, I had the Royals circled as a playoff team. But like me and Jimmy say all the time, this is what happens with the sexy pick. The Royals were the sexy pick, and boom, they're just sitting there, the first team out. Jimmy, any thoughts here before we move on to the
Well, I
NFL?
will say
And
the Mariners have a weak schedule down the stretch too. The toughest series they have, I mean, they're in Cleveland this weekend, and then they have St. Louis, who's still kind of fighting, and then of course they end with the Dodgers. But the rest of it, they've got Atlanta, who's playing for nothing, the Angels playing for nothing. I guess you got Kansas City and Houston sandwiched in there at the last 2 weeks. So I mean, they could, if they go, let's say KC takes 2 of 3, Houston takes 2 of 3, and they go 2 and 6 during that stretch. That could lose them the wild card. So there's a chance that they could lose it, but their schedule is also very favorable. If they go 7 and 3 over the next 10 games, they could probably lock it up. I can't remember what the magic number is right now, but they're a 7 and 3 or 6 and 4 stretch from probably locking it up.
Jimmy, thoughts here? You think the Royals can do it?
I mean, there's enough games left that they certainly could. You know, you've got Texas sitting right behind them too. I mean, we're not talking about that. They're only a game and a half back. Who knows what happens there? They're not a bad squad. I think Cleveland's done. But again, they're only 2 games back at KC. So this is just, that's what I'm looking at more so than just Seattle. There are 2 other teams that are close enough that they could jump them as well. So I don't know.
Do you have the odds pulled up right now?
I can probably.
Plus 350 for KC.
What are the Rangers right now? Because they have a tough schedule the last month because they play Houston twice and Milwaukee. So they go Houston, Milwaukee, Mets, Houston. Like that's a tough 12-game stretch right there.
Let's see if they have the Rangers up. They have, yep, they do. The Rangers are plus 650 to make the playoffs. Royals are plus 350. The Mariners are not up. Oh, yes, they are. The Mariners are minus 575.
Holy shit.
So
I would not lay that. That's for sure.
Way too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Royals are still your value pick right there. They, again, of the 3 teams, I think they've got the easiest schedule down the stretch if they take care of business. Heck, I mean the Rangers, if the Rangers come out hot in that 12-game stretch, sure they could make it. So at plus 600, whatever you said. Again, from a value perspective, if you're trying to take a little bit of cash and make some money, both of those are probably worth throwing $5 or $10 at.
Yeah, I just don't believe in the Mariners, like I said. So maybe that's the play. Just bet
I think it's the pitching, man. They've been their starting pitching's been really good.
It has. I just don't trust them. They're the Mariners. They couldn't win when they had A-Rod in the big unit. How can they win now? But that's just just my opinion. All right, let's move on to what everyone actually cares about, and that's football. That's the only thing anyone cares about. So we'll run down the divisions, and let's start in the NFC East. No team has repeated division titles in this division in 21 years. Do the Eagles do it, Jimmy?
Yes. I think they do. I think it happens. And if they don't, I don't see a lot of value. The Commanders, there's just not enough value there at plus 200. I would honestly, and I know it sounds crazy after what happened today, but I take the 800 on Dallas and just see what happens before I took the Commanders at 2. I think that's the value play here. Everybody agrees the Giants. I don't care if you gave me plus a million, I wouldn't take it. You just give me your money at this point. But I think that the value play is honestly on the Cowboys. If Dak can stay healthy all year, if they can put something together. Again, they were bad with Micah on defense. They still had good years. Who knows what happens? Injuries, blah, blah, blah. Dallas is the value play, but no, I think the Eagles win.
Yeah, the Eagles they have too much talent. And as much of a bozo as Nick Sirianni is, and how obviously Chiefs fans, we cannot stand Nick Sirianni as that coach. They just have way too much talent to lose. The Commanders are an interesting one. I know you guys talked about them a few weeks ago. I feel like half of the media is still in favor of them. I think the other half is like, well, they played nobody last year. So, of course, they looked good last year when they didn't play anybody. So I was just looking at their schedule. They've got a favorable schedule. The Commanders do. I mean, they've got some tough games here and there, but they've certainly got some winnable ones. I'm not buying into the fact that I think Jaden Daniels takes 1 or 2 steps back. I don't think he has the CJ Stroud sophomore year, different kind of play style. They've got enough weapons, and their defense is getting better. But yeah, I agree with you. If you're talking about just from a sports betting perspective, not enough juice there unless you're parlaying it with a second play somewhere else. So I would still lean the Eagles. I think the Eagles are entering that territory that the Chiefs are, where as a franchise, the way they run their franchise top to bottom, preseason, regular season, all that, they're one of the most consistent running operations. So I think you could bet on that aspect of it, that they'll be the most prepared team week in and week out in that division.
Well, look, with Lee Corso retiring, someone's going to have to keep the line alive, and I'll do it, Lee. Not so fast, my friends. Okay. Giants, no chance. Eagles have a tough schedule, a lot of new faces on defense, and I'm
True.
worried about Barkley staying healthy. Cowboys, I wrote down intriguing when I was writing my notes for the show. Intriguing. They were 12-5 2 years ago when Dak and CD were healthy. They could be good value if you like them, like Jimmy said, but with Parsons, they're going to have to score 82 points a game without Parsons there. Washington's the bet, plus 220. I am never taking the Eagles here laying odds on. Not happening. Give me the Commanders plus 220. Are you freaking kidding me? McLaurin is signed now. Daniels is only going to get better. And I'm going to say it, and I'm going to piss everybody off, Jimmy. Daniels, Jaden Daniels, is the best quarterback in this division, not Hurts.
I would agree.
Give me the best quarterback in the division. Give me an improved defense, and give me the Commanders plus 220. Suck it, Eagles, and your dopey touchdown song.
So and to be clear, from my perspective, this is an avoid for me, right? That's why I gave up multiple picks. Gun to my head, I'm going to say I think the Eagles win the division. But I do think if I was betting it, if I'm going to put money on it, I will take the value on a small play on Dallas at plus 800. Because like you said, they were 12-5 2 years ago. I know that was with Micah Parsons on defense. They weren't good with him there. They still had to outscore people. If they stay healthy and things break their way, they could win the division. So if I had to make a bet, I'd probably take it based on the value play, smaller play, bigger payout. But this is an avoid division for me.
I'm curious, what win total do you have on the Commanders? Because I look at it and I see 7 pretty solid wins. Outside of that, I could see how they get to 12, but I think
look at it.
Their schedule is also a little challenging. I mean, they've got the Lions, they've got the Packers. I think the Chargers is not a just, you can't write that down as a win even on the road. Jim Harbaugh's too good of a coach to keep them relevant. Seahawks, I think, could be a gotcha game there right before the Lions, right after the Cowboys. Broncos are going to be a tough. Vikings are tough. That's the only reason I think I would push back on the Commanders winning the division, because I don't see how they get to 12 wins easily.
Yeah. Look, are you asking me what the win total is? It's 9.5, or what I have them at.
If you have them winning the division, then yeah, I would imagine you have them above 10 wins, unless this is one of those divisions where 9-7 team or a 10-17 wins.
10-win team, possibly 11 wins this division. And here's why.
Sure.
I don't like Philly's schedule either. They go to KC, who will be looking for revenge. They get the Rams. They got to go to Tampa. They get Denver. They get Minnesota. They go to Green Bay. They get the Lions. They go to Dallas on Thanksgiving. They get Chicago, who could be improved, but they'll be a big favorite in that game. But then they got to go to the Chargers. They got to go to Buffalo. Eagles have no easy schedule here. I love the under 11.5 against the Eagles.
Especially
the
after
Commanders,
Super Bowl win.
10-7 could win this division. 11-6 definitely wins this division. And I think the Commanders win 10, and I wouldn't be shocked if they win 11, because Daniels is just a winner. We saw it at LSU. Not only did he beat teams, he beat his coach, because his coach is dope. So, I mean, he's got his coach playing defense on him with terrible decisions.
He is a proven winner. He's one of those guys that you put the ball in his hands, and they were close. I mean, this playoff, they had enough things break their way to get into that position, because they probably weren't the better team coming into the playoffs to get there. They've got, I guess I'm following what you're saying there. I think what's interesting in this division is you've got Eagles, Commanders 2 of the last 3 weeks of the season. So that could decide the division right there. I mean, those 2 games are going to decide the division for sure. So having going Eagles, so the Commanders they play basically their entire division the last 4 weeks of the season, which is interesting. And then coming off Vikings. But yeah, if you're I think the value play, just go ahead and throw a flyer on the Cowboys. If Dak Prescott's healthy the entire season, that offense, I mean, they could put up some insane numbers. Like you said, they're going to have to, because the defense is rivaling the Bengals. So they're two very similar teams in a division that's winnable,
Yep.
but still a tough uphill battle. I think that'll be an interesting division to follow throughout the season because nationally, I think it's going to be Eagles, Commanders. But like you said, they could eat each other up throughout the year. I still think the Giants are going to be more competitive than they'll get credit for too. Even if they lose a bunch of games, they'll make teams play them tough. And whenever they decide to go to Jameis Winston over Russell Wilson, then they'll have some fun.
All right, well, I'm going to stop you right there. Jameis Winston's not going to see a snap this year. It's going to be Jackson Dart. He was the best player in the preseason, and he's the future of that team. And if they put him in, I think you're right. When Russell Wilson's playing, the Giants are going to get destroyed.
Yeah.
So their defense should be good. Abdul Carter is going to make that defense legit, but we'll see.
Their whole front four is awesome. Like the whole front, the Abdul Carter, they've got Burns, they've got
Dexter Lawrence.
I mean, they have their defense is pretty stout. And I'll tell you what, Greg, a lot of the local talk is exactly what we said. That if you're going to put Jackson Dart in, that Saints game week 5 is the mark, right? That's after you're through the murderer's row of the first 4 games.
Yeah.
So that's probably when he would end up in there. But if they get there and they're 2-2 or 3-1, you might, which is very unlikely, all right?
Sure.
But if you get there and you're okay, or if you get to the point where you're 8 games in and you're 5-3, maybe you let them sit, right? Because a lot of the talk is around here, especially from the local guys. Even Rich Eisen was on local because he's got a show coming up on ESPN, and he's from Brooklyn and grew up in Staten Island. He's saying the same thing, like Jackson Dart has swagger. Like, don't get it beat out of him with this crazy schedule that they've got here. Like, if Russell Wilson can hold it down and not be flammable, let him sit for a hot minute, wait till he's ready, and because he could really be the real deal in the future. So we'll see.
Yeah, he's another one in college who had to deal with a dopey coach. So, all right, let's go to the South. I'll give you my rundown, and then I'll throw it to you two. Saints, they're not going to win 3 games, let alone the division, so we can skip them. The Panthers, to me, are fool's gold. They play competitive down the stretch, right? They covered a lot of spreads in the final months, so people think they're really, really good, but they're not a really great team. If they win 7 games, it would be a great accomplishment for them. The Falcons, to me, are the team with the highest ceiling, in my opinion, and I went back and forth on this division quite a bit. Bijan in London and whoever winds up being the QB, because I'm not completely sold that we might not see Kirk Cousins back in there as the starting quarterback. I think this offense should be putting up points every week, and they got better on the defensive side of the ball. This is a very talented roster. Don't mistake it for 1 second. Here's the problem, I think, for the Falcons. The Buccaneers are just tremendous on offense, and I think it goes unnoticed because they're the Bucs, right? They were 4th in points last year, 3rd in yards gained. And Baker's ready to do it again. Baker is, in my opinion, the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. And it's not even close. This guy is a legit quarterback. Unfortunately, he got a death sentence with Cleveland, and they didn't know how to use him right. And he still got the team to the playoffs, right? Yeah. He is a legit quarterback, and I think people don't realize that. And he'll have this Bucs team ready to go. And I think minus 120 is an absolute gift. I would have made this team minus 175 to win this division. Give me the Bucs minus 120, and it's one of my biggest plays. Jimmy, I know you're a Baker fan, so go ahead, Jimmy.
No, I 100% agree. I have the Bucs written down. I don't think this is close. I don't believe in Atlanta. I don't believe in Michael Penix Jr. yet. I think they've got a really good team. I think Bijan Robinson is the best thing they got. Is Kyle Pitts ever going to show up and show that he was worth that high first-round draft pick? Tampa is just good, and I like Todd Bowles. I mean, said he didn't do a great job in New York. When was the last time somebody did a great job with the Jets?
Who has?
Like, Todd Bowles is a solid coach. He got handed the team after they won a Super Bowl, and then Brady retired a year later. And he somehow managed to keep his job, bring Baker along. They won the division. I mean, yeah, there's no way the Bucs don't win this division. They're extremely talented. They've got depth, not only at receiver, but at running back. Mm-hmm. Now, Tristan Wirfs, there's some questions about his health, so we'll see about the offensive line this year. They're just a solid team. Carolina is fool's gold. The Saints are basically a college team. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know how the Bucs, and barring major injury, the Bucs will win. And I've said this on previous shows, but I'll say it again. Baker got a raw deal in Cleveland because he tried to play through an injury. It wasn't his throwing arm, but he had a separated shoulder. I don't give a shit what you say. Try to throw a pass with a separate. You're going to float a few balls. I watched a lot of Cleveland football that year. I watched a lot of Cleveland football every year. He was floating balls that were getting picked that he doesn't float. He's deadly accurate. They should have put Case Keenum in, let him heal, we would have never gotten to this entire debacle. It was the Browns, not shocking, screwing it up. But he had that bad year. Go play a professional sport with a separated shoulder, right? That's why it was a bad year. Yeah, and so yeah, I'm on board with it. The Bucks minus 120, great value.
Yeah, and he made great commercials with his wife. How dare you get rid of him?
Fantastic commercials.
What's wrong with you? Keegan, your thoughts on the South here?
Yeah, I'm really high on Baker Mayfield. I'm really high on that offense. Chris Godwin is healthy. Fingers crossed for now. He is cleared to be playing week 1 after missing the entire preseason and all of camp, pretty much. Now, he's always an injury concern, but Chris Godwin is one of the most dangerous slot receivers in the game. He's one of the most heavily targeted guys on third down, red zone. When he is healthy, he just does so much for them. And Mike Evans hasn't really taken much of a step back. Now, could this be the year Father Time catches up? Sure. But he is just so sure-handed, so physical. He doesn't have to be the guy anymore. Ibuka is going to be great for them. I think their offense could be very similar to what we saw out of Detroit last year. I think more mobile quarterback, of course, with Baker, but you've got enough weapons. I think Cade Otton is very underrated. Didn't get used. His usage dropped last year, I believe, compared to the year before, but good red zone target, great on third down. Bucky Irving is going to have a Jahmyr Gibbs type year, in my opinion. I think he's one of the guys that's outside RB5, top 5, that's going to finish top 3 for fantasy. So very high on them. I also tend to lean with who's got the best coach. When you've got uncertainties around your roster, who's got the best coach, that's typically the team that's going to go win it. And so I would give that edge to Todd Bowles. If I think I would rather take a flyer on the Panthers than I would the Falcons. I'm in the same boat. I don't know what to think about Michael Penix yet. I think Bryce Young has a little bit more upside long term, and they have a hungry offense, but new head coach, who knows what that looks like there. But I think if I was going to take a flyer on one of those two, I would rather go Panthers and see if Chuba Hubbard can just carry the team on his back. I don't know if we see Kirk Cousins like you're saying, and I'm really not as high on Drake London as everybody else in the world is, and I think it's because I don't know what to expect out of Michael Penix yet. He looked pretty decent down the stretch, but they didn't really have a ton they were playing for. So he could just go ball out and not have to focus on anything else. But Bucks for sure. They've got a good defense. They've got a solid defensive line, and they're going to score 28 plus points a game.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think what I say about the Falcons again is their ceiling is the highest because we just don't know what to expect because their roster's so talented. Yeah. But the Panthers, I get the value, but again, I think they're just a sexy play. But I'm going to move on to the NFC West because here's my value play. And here's my breakdown. I'm tossing out Seattle. I don't like Seattle. I didn't like them last year with Geno there anyways. I don't like the team at all. And Sam Darnold, what we saw last year in a dome was magical. I got on Keegan's show every week or every other week and basically said, I can't believe this team's good. How is he doing it? They're going to lose this week. And I was wrong every week. It was amazing. The 49ers they're just beat up. And I don't think CMC is going to stay healthy. Do we believe Purdy can carry them? Not me. Because here's the thing. I think it's George Kittle and a bunch of mediocre receivers at best. The D sucked last year. They were 29th in the league. Do we really think they're going to be better this year? The answer to all those questions for me is no. I was high on the Rams. I got on this show in the beginning of the summer and said, I love the Rams. They're a big play for me. And then Matt Stafford's back. So not for me. Then we have the Cards, the most underachieving team in sports. The team that on paper looks like they should win every game and loses every game. I think that's going to flip this year. I think this is the year they put it all together. I think Murray, one of two things is going to happen, everyone. Murray is going to win the division this year, or he's going to be a backup in the NFL the rest of his life. Because if you can't win with Harrison Jr., McBride, and the Terminator on offense with the middle-of-the-run defense, right, who could be better than middle of the run, you probably shouldn't be a starting quarterback. So I'm going to take the Cards plus 425 to win the West. I think it's one of the best value plays out there because I think they are much better than what these odds say. Keegan, what do you think of the West?
Yeah, I think I agree with your thought process on that. This is put up or shut up time for Kyler Murray. Contract aside, playing Call of Duty versus studying game tape, all that aside, you got to prove it this year. He's always been just right there on the cusp of go win us a game instead of taking us out. I like their offense. I am shocked that Marvin Harrison has slid down as much as he has from a general perspective on the public's perspective on him. He's like outside the top 15 or 20 in fantasy wide receiver potential right now. They're a good pick. Me personally, I still like the Rams. I am the exact opposite of most fantasy gurus that think Kyron Williams is going to slow down. He's 23 years old. He's had some injury concerns, but he's only 23 years old and he's bounced back from every injury very well. Sean McVay's the best head coach in that division. In my opinion, he's the most creative, unique guy. Yes, the Matthew Stafford back concerns, very, very big on the season. If he's only 70% of what he is when he's healthy, that's not going to get it done. But again, if you look at the talent, they got too much talent offensively. So there's still one that I would lean towards. And I don't mind the Seahawks. I think their play style is interesting. Their defense is getting a little bit better. They spent a couple last two drafts on the defensive side. I think Sam Darnold is going to be in a position to prove himself that last year wasn't just quarterback guru, head coach, great offense thrown to Justin Jefferson. I think he's going to be able to utilize the run game a lot more to take some of that pressure off him. I don't think Cooper Kupp is done personally, as a lot of people do, because now he doesn't have to be the guy with JSN there beside him. So it's to me, this is another interesting division. I've done several parlays where I'm like, all right, who do I pick in the NFC West that's going to juice the rest of my play? And I've gone back and forth on this one. So the only one I'm out on, like you, is I'm out on the 49ers completely. There's just, Christian McCaffrey's one calf strain away from missing 12 games, so I'm out on them completely. But I think this is one of those divisions that there's no easy pick here, which is why they're all plus money.
Yep, I agree. Jimmy, where you at here?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it quick. I've got the Cardinals circled. We've talked about them before. I think at plus 425 is great value because from a talent perspective, there's no reason they shouldn't win it. They should. Stafford's back's hurt. If you're going to bet the Rams, I don't disagree with it, but it's more so because Jimmy G's gone to the Super Bowl and he's their backup. So if they've got a great head coach and maybe he can get them there. So if you like the fact that they've got a good backup, great. The Niners can't believe they paid Brock Purdy what they paid him. I mean, I was shocked they did it. I thought they'd figure out anything. I mean, they got to the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo. They drafted Brock Purdy in the 6th round. You'd think they'd figure out a way to pull it off. It would be awesome if they made a trade for Trey Lance at $2 million now that he looked great in the preseason and pulled him back. You make a good argument, Keegan, for Seattle, but I just don't believe in Sam Darnold. I think it was a fluke. I think the last 2 games showed it. So long story short, I'm going with the talent has matured, and Kyler Murray will get the Cardinals there. Give me the plus 425.
Like, you both can write this down. I don't know if you have pens on you like I do here during these shows. Oh, good. Write this down. Marvin Harrison Jr. and Marvin Harrison Sr. will have one thing in common in about 20 years, and that's they'll both be in the Hall of Fame. So he will have a great season this year as he matures, and he is going to be one of the best receivers in the league in the next couple of years. All right. Here's the division we're all going to yell about coming up, I think, at least one of them. I know with the last division we talked about tonight we'll all fight about, but this one too, the NFC North. With everything that happened today, and Parsons now Packer, and them the favorite now to win this division, Jimmy, how do you see the NFC North playing out?
I think it's a complete overreaction. I think Detroit still wins. There's not a lot of juice on Detroit right now over taking Green Bay. I just look, if they didn't have basically like an infirmary of defense last year, they would have gone to the Super Bowl. They had nobody left to play defense. They had a glorified high school defense out there. They had it was unbelievable they made it how far they did, and then they just couldn't get their defense is healthy now. I see no reason Detroit shouldn't win this division. Look, we all hope J.J. McCarthy's, especially Greg and I as Michigan fans, hope he's good. I think he will be. I know Kevin O'Connell's the quarterback whisperer, and they're a very sound team. Chicago can get fucked. I don't believe in them at all right now. I think Chicago, all the hype around in Ben Johnson, they will be good, but there's not a chance in hell they win this division. Plus 600 is a ridiculous number. It should be plus 1,200 at best. So I think it comes down to the Packers or the Lions, and I'm just not going to say Micah Parsons all of a sudden solves that riddle. I don't think he's going to slow Detroit's offense down. They play him twice a year, and I think Detroit's defense is going to be back and good enough. Aiden Hutchinson's healthy. They literally had nobody to play in the secondary last year in the playoffs. They had nobody. Everybody was hurt. That's why Aaron Glenn got a head coaching job, even though the defense sucked in the playoffs, because he somehow patchworked a defense together to get them to where they got, right? So Detroit plus 190. Okay.
Love it. Keegan?
I'm going to go value here. I like Minnesota. I think they are underrated. There's a lot on J.J. McCarthy's shoulders for sure. He's got to have a tremendous year. I mean, if you look at the quarterbacks you trust the most in this division, I think you could probably say Jared Goff. And the head coach, I think Dan Campbell is fantastic. But losing 2 coordinators, that's a lot. Now, it's not like their system's going to change. Their players are basically the same. But you've got different guys calling plays now, different guys having that voice of influence. So there's some uncertainty there. J.J. McCarthy is one that a lot of people have been talking up, that he's in a right system. He's got a good offense. I mean, once Jordan Addison's back, they get Adam Thielen back this year, sure-handed threat all the time, even at his age, mid-30s for a wide receiver. Aaron Jones, I think, is better than he's getting credit for. He's looked pretty solid in Minnesota. They trade for Jordan Mason, so they've got a good running back tandem there. TJ Hawkinson. They've got all the right pieces. I don't know how the defense is going to hold up. I think they're a pretty good defense. I think they're capable of being top 5. And again, good head coach. So I like Minnesota at the plus 340. Detroit and Green Bay are too close to. It's like, again, if you said, hey, do I have to bet this? I would probably not bet it right now. But if I had to make a play, I might as well go value in the Vikings, because Detroit should win this division, but that's just not juicy enough to throw much at.
All right, this is the gift of the year, in my opinion. I think the Vikings will be good. I do. But there's no way they're going to be as good as last year. As last year's record was, at least. Everything broke their way. I think JJ to JJ will be a force. I do. I think Thielen coming back home is a really cool story, and I think he'll have some big games until Addison gets back. With all that said, the Bears, Jimmy already said it. They'll be improved, but not enough. Not in this division. The Packers, they have become the sharp play, and even more so now. There's sharps out there right now that said, oh my God, did I make a great bet because Parsons just joined the team. You know what my question is? Why? Can they be good? Sure. Can Love have a productive year? Maybe. Can Jacobs have another huge year? Sure. Is Lambeau a huge, great home field advantage in the winter? It sure is. But there's one major problem the Packers have, and that's the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell and the Lions is still the best team in this division by far, and it's not fucking close. Okay, you want to give me plus 190 now? I have one thing to say. Thank you. I'll take it. And here's why. Do they have a hard schedule? Yes, they do. But you know what? Great teams do well against a hard schedule. I don't think anyone's going, oh, good, we get to play the Lions. No. The Lions are going to be favored in 12 or 13 of these 17 hard games they have, everyone. They are one of the top teams in the NFL. And Jimmy already said it. He kind of stole my thunder. The defense was crippled last year. If Aiden is half of what he was last year, this defense is going to be a problem for everybody. This is an absolute no-brainer for me. Give me the Lions plus 190. They have the best coach, the best offense, and I'll tell you, in probably 30 or so minutes, they have the defensive player of the year too. Give me the Lions.
I agree.
If he stays healthy, he should. We've talked about that for 2 years straight now, that Aiden Hutchinson is the guy that should win Defensive Player of the Year if he can make it all 17 games, because he was on a tear until he got hurt.
Look, I know what you're saying with the value in theory in Minnesota, but the way I read this line, and obviously I'm wrong because the people that make these lines are really smart, but the Bears should be not 600, it should be 1,200, and the Vikings should be 550. Greg's exactly right. It broke their way. Everything broke their way. And God damn it, I want J.J. McCarthy to be great. But to say Detroit's 190 and Minnesota with a rookie quarterback is 350 is nuts to me. Like, I think, yeah, and look, Keegan, I agree with you. I think I've talked about on a couple shows on our fantasy show. I think Aaron Jones is way undervalued because of his age in fantasy right now. he's basically a receiver as well as running back. I mean, the guy can just flat out run routes, catches fades, back shoulders, anything you throw his way. But my God, 350 on a rookie quarterback versus the Detroit Lions, the last year, 190 seems like a gift. I'm all over with Greg.
Yeah, and look, I'm going to say this, and it's no disrespect here. It's going to sound like it. Maybe it is. I don't know. Micah Parsons, he's a great player. But when did he become J.J. Watt? He's not a game changer. Is Dak Prescott not as good as Jordan Love? Would CeeDee Lamb not be the best receiver on the Packers? Did Parsons get Dallas over the hump? Fuck no, he didn't. He's not going to get Green Bay over the hump. Detroit Lions are the best. Dan Campbell is the best coach in the NFL. If anyone thinks that is not a true statement, just turn the podcast off. Go somewhere else. Dan Campbell is the best coach, and it's not even fucking close. This guy is a good coach. He understands everything. Yeah. You can look at me with the walrus. Whatever. Andy Reid can lick me. Dan Campbell's the best coach in the NFL, Kansas City. I'm sorry, he is. He understands.
He's the most fun coach to watch play.
No, he's the smartest coach.
This is what I would say. Dan Campbell is the best leader in the NFL. That's why he gets most, because that's why I don't think the changing of the guard at the coordinators will be that big of a deal. Sure. Because Dan Campbell was never the X's and O's guy anyway. He was the leader of the team. He knew how to empower people, how to inspire people, and he got performance.
We're going to bite those kneecaps.
Yeah, but that's what he did, and so that's why they're going to be just fine. And I don't think there's anybody we'd rather play for other than Dan Campbell.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
All right.
Are we even going to talk about the AFC East? Do we all just agree Buffalo?
Buffalo.
I'm surprised they're not a heavier favorite than they are.
Minus 330 is a gift. Put your fucking mortgage on it. Yeah. There's no chance this team doesn't win the division.
You said you have minus 330 right now?
Minus 330 right now.
FanDuel's got him at minus 260, so even better.
Even better.
Ooh, there we go. Put them in all your parlays.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like to your point on Detroit at plus 190 or whatever you get it at right now, even just plus money, is a great way to pick 4 division winners and steal Detroit at plus 190 to juice it. Like I just put together a 4-leg one here of Detroit, Kansas City, the Bills, and Tampa Bay, and $10 pays out 165. Easy way to juice it.
What about the Chargers?
Yeah, it's a good bet. Except
I know we'll save that for AFC West.
It's coming up, everyone. I know everyone's
but Buffalo, they never can get over the hump in the playoffs. But I mean, the only other team you can give some life to is New England because of Mike Vrabel. They're gonna have a good year. They're gonna be a competitive team, and they're gonna win some games that we're gonna sit here going, they beat who this year? Yeah. How did they come out winning that game 17-10? You know, they'll do it. And Drake May, I think he's set up to have a good next couple of years. Miami, their offense could be electric. Their defense has been falling apart for years now. And Tua is always, a light breeze away from a hospital visit. So there's no way you can give confidence in them. I'm excited to watch Justin Fields in New York. I think he's going to have a better season than what the end result will be, hopefully. I've always just wanted to have him bounce back because I thought Chicago and him just wasn't a good matchup. But yeah, all right. Easiest division there is.
Quick, you're not wrong. People in New York aren't super excited about it, but I will tell you, Polar Bear just tied it up 4-4. Moving on.
Oh, good for you. And if we're giving up live updates, Jimmy, what did I tell you on our last show that this was a trap?
And South Florida's putting on Boise State.
I told you.
Not good for one of my first plays of the year.
Yeah, it was a sucker play. I mean, this was just, it was going to happen. All right, anyways. AFC South, for me, this really comes down to a simple question. Is it Houston or do you believe in somebody else? Titans are not going to be a good club. Let's just be honest with each other. First year, it's not going to happen. Colts are intriguing with Danny Dimes because I think it brings Pittman back into play because Danny Dimes knows how to at least run an offense where Richardson did not. And JT's there. You know how I feel about JT. JT is one of the best running backs in the league. The D, not terrible. I see Jimmy's face, but Jimmy, look into that D. They're not terrible. They were a decent team last year, even without a quarterback. So I can see it. The Jags, my God, with this team, everyone. You just don't know what to expect. They could go 12-5. They could go 1-16. Nobody knows what to expect from this club ever. The most underachieving franchise I've ever seen. So for me, with a first-year coach and Liam, I'm passing. I'm going with the Texans plus 105. I think Look, CJ Stroud, I think people are very high on him with a fantasy. Not for me. I wouldn't. Jimmy's keeping him in a keeper league. I would never keep him. I don't think he'll put up the numbers like everybody else. I don't. But I think he'll do enough with Nico Collins because I think Nico Collins is a top 5 receiver.
Yep.
I think he'll do enough with Nico and manage the offense and then let that because that defense is a top 5 defense in this league, Keegan, if not a top 3 defense. Let the defense do their thing. CJ manage the game. Texans win the division. Give me plus 105. I think it's a great number. Love the Texans.
I agree with you. It all comes down to the offensive line, though, because D'Amico Ryans is, I like the best coach in the division, I would think. He's the first coach that has lasted more than a year in Houston. He totally turned it around. I think CJ Stroud is a great quarterback, but he's a pocket passer, right? So your offensive line has to hold up to a point. So I think it really comes down to the offensive line. Defense is going to be good. Running game with Mixon and Chubb should be good. Nico Collins, Tank Dell's coming back at some point in the year. Like on paper, they should for sure win it. And yeah, I think CJ Stroud holds it down and they pull it off. The Colts have a decent team. Daniel Jones can't stay healthy, and Anthony Richardson should be a senior in college right now, learning how to play football still. That's the problem. He's full of talent. He seems like a great fucking kid too. Like he like when you hear him talk, like you're like, I root for the guy. But like he's the poster boy for you shouldn't have played 12 college games and then gone to the
stuck around
pros.
a year.
Yeah, you could have been a Bo Nix, played 17 years in college and come out when you were 42, and you would have been more ready to do it, right? But really, like he would have been better because he's full of talent and he's a good kid. He's just now like, oh, was it bust? Yeah, because you drafted him when he's 20 years old. He played 12 games, right? Like, he wasn't ready to do this. So that's why I don't believe in the Colts. It's not the rest of the team. I think JT's great. I like, man, the one receiver. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank. I draft him late in fantasy drafts. Yeah, I draft him late in fantasy drafts all the time. But I just don't think they're just going to have it from that perspective. So Texans win. Best coach, best defense, great running backs, really great receivers. I mean, their offensive line just has to hold up. If they can hold up,
they have one of the 5 worst offensive lines in football.
That's the problem, right?
Yeah.
But if they can do anything, they're going to be good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think if you look at the lines, I mean, it's I wouldn't say it's begging you to take Jacksonville yet, but the way the lines are set up, like Jacksonville feels like that's who they want you to pick. And I think they'll be better. Brian Thomas, great wide receiver. Again, Trevor Lawrence is kind of in that put up or shut up year. I know he's been paid already. He's got his money, but it's you and Kyler Murray are 2 of those younger quarterbacks that have to prove you're worthy. They're going to have a good offense. I think they're still going to have a good offense. Liam Cohen's great offensive mind. Part of why the reason the Bucs were pretty solid last couple of years. But first-time head coaches, it is rare first-time head coaches go out and win the division and quickly. So same thing. D'Amico Ryan's best head coach in the division. I would lean that way.
The other thing too is, to Greg's point, the 280 on the Jaguars is gonna at the end of the year either be like, that was the best value ever. They went 13-4, or you're gonna be like, what the fuck? They were 3-14. It's gonna be one of the two. And that's it, right?
Yeah, at least Houston's gonna be an 8 to 9 win team minimum.
They're gonna be competitive all year long. They're gonna be in the race. Jacksonville's either gonna be a home run or you're gonna be puking by week 8 when they're 1-7 and wondering why you made that play.
And if anyone was trying to decipher what Jimmy was saying, I think you were talking about Pierce, right, for the Colts late in the draft. Is that who you're taking late?
Or Josh Downs.
No. Jesus,
A.D. Mitchell.
Pittman.
Can't be Pittman. You're not getting Pittman.
They've got 4 receivers.
But
Pittman slid a lot.
Yeah, Pittman slid quite a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, but last year in round 5.
No, he's I think 8-9 right now. You can grab Pittman. Yeah.
How?
It's because they don't know quarterback.
They don't know who's throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
I love Pittman's. Pittman's dad was a great running back, by the way.
The AFC North, I think it's only fair to let our Cleveland Browns fan go first.
Well, thank you, Greg. So here's your play. I think we all know the obvious answer here, and it's the Cleveland Browns. If you want a value play here at plus 4,000, we've got a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Hey, only the Pittsburgh Steelers can say that, right?
True.
Joe Burrow hasn't won one. Has Lamar won one? You know who has? Joe motherfucking Flacco. He's going to grow that mustache back. He's going to be slinging it all over the field. Plus 4,000. What a value. But really, I did write down an answer here, and you're not going to agree with it either. It's the Steelers. Tomlin never has a losing season. He's got Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers came on strong last year. Cincinnati is going to lose games 45-42, and Baltimore, something's going wrong. They've been too good for too long. Something's going to fall apart. Pittsburgh plus 475 is a value. They've got the only surefire Hall of Fame quarterback. They've got a coach who's never had a losing season. If Aaron Rodgers can't get him over that hump, I don't know who can. Give me Pittsburgh at plus 475.
Keegan?
That's almost the same thought process I had. I think Baltimore is the team that should win. Obviously, that's what the line says. They should win. But yeah, like you said, Mike Tomlin does not drop bad seasons. And Aaron Rodgers doesn't even have to be really good this year. He has to be average for them to be good enough to win games. So I like the long-term play on that. Baltimore, I know they're really good defensively. They could shut teams down again defensively. They're going to be very heavy on the run side of the ball. I've never liked their receivers. I'm not big into Zay Flowers is a guy that I'm always avoiding in drafts. I just don't trust him. Rashad Bateman is coming on a little bit. Mark Andrews, he will bounce back. Isaiah Likely is a good duo, but I don't like the passing options in that offense. So the Steelers have some interest. They're going to be really good defensively again. But if this is probably a division that like I wouldn't mind staying away from if I had to.
Boys, that was a well thought out, fantastic analysis from the two of you. And I could not disagree more. The Browns are a mess. You need a QB, Jimmy, to win in this league.
Deshaun Watson looked pretty good in his practice, whatever they showed the other day.
We have a Super Bowl winning quarterback on our roster, Greg Jackson.
Jimmy, not only, first of all, we usually don't give out last names on the show, but that's fine. All right, Jimmy, not only do you need a quarterback, you need a running back and a wide receiver. You're 0 for 3. You have a tight end, but he can't stay healthy. That's about your defense. Okay. Steelers, I don't believe in it all. Rodgers' last dance here is going to be a disaster. Tomlin's going to have his first losing season. Ravens are loaded. The Ravens are loaded, everybody. And they're minus 170 for a reason. Here's the thing. I understand if you're hammering them at minus 170. I know a lot of sharps are because they think they should be equal with the Bills at minus 330. But Lamar, he's injury prone. Henry is getting older. And I don't believe in any of their wide receivers. Is Bateman a great wide receiver? I don't think so. I'm riding with my guy, Joe Burrow. He might need to score 50 points a game, Jimmy. But he will. He will. The defense won't be as bad as you think. Will they give up 45? No. They'll give up 33. But Joe Burrow will score 35. That you can guarantee. This offense is going to put up historic numbers. Not great numbers, historic numbers. Jamar Chase and T. Higgins could both be top 5 receivers in fantasy. And I'm not just saying that for a wow factor. It's the truth. And it wouldn't shock me if Higgins was higher than Chase this year because they're going to key in on Chase. Brown is going to have Chase is going to have a great year. I mean, he just is. He just is. Gesicki's going to have a great year. He might score 7-8 touchdowns. This offense, I'm telling you right now, write it down. Joe Burrow's your MVP. I mean, and he's going to put up numbers that you've never seen before. If they played indoors, Keegan, they might put up 60 points a game. I don't think there's a team in the league, Denver included, that can stop this offense. I don't. Give me the Bengals plus 290 and lock it up as the best bet of the year.
Greg has been giving Cincinnati all that. I agree with him wholeheartedly on the fantasy implications for this. But I just think, look, do I think they're going to be better in September? For sure. They've learned. They're playing the preseason. They're going to get better. Joe Burrow put up MVP-type numbers last year. There's no denying it. Trey Hendrickson's back. But he was back last year. They were bad then.
Was he the leader in sacks?
They were still bad.
Did every bounce go against them?
It did.
Trey Hendrickson got a lot of mop-up time sacks last year. He had like half of his sacks in 3 games. I don't think you can. His stat line's very deceiving. When it matters the most, outside of playing the Chiefs, because he is really good against the Chiefs every time. Outside of playing the Chiefs, he has not been consistent through the entire season as a dominant pass rusher. It's all been in 2 or 3 games.
Look, and I love Greg's passion, and he very well could be right. Joe Burrow is the guy. Like, you're not going to hear me talk shit on Joe Burrow. Hey, Lamar Jackson's guy too. Aaron Rodgers. There's very good quarterback play outside of Cleveland in this division. I own it. So you could be right. I'm not going to deny that. I think on paper, Baltimore makes sense. I'm going to say Pittsburgh.
Of course. You're minus 170 and you're a fucking chalk muncher. Of course.
That's why I think
I'm still going Pittsburgh. I'm telling you Pittsburgh. And I think Rodgers at plus 5,000 for MVP. Good value.
You're literally going to sit there and tell me Pittsburgh...
They're not going to win enough games for him to be an MVP.
Both of you. You're both going to sit there and tell me Pittsburgh is a better bet than Cincinnati?
I'm telling Pittsburgh's got the much better defense, much better coaching.
Well, here's what I really think this division comes down to. If you think Baltimore takes a step or 2 back, then this could be like the NFC East, to where a 10-win team could win the division.
Yeah.
Could the Bengals get the 10 wins? Absolutely. But so could the Steelers. The Steelers will find a way to win a game they shouldn't.
Yep.
And the Bengals will lose a game they shouldn't. So it could be messy. But that, again, to me, it all comes down to, if you think Baltimore could take a step back, then yeah, you could go with Cincinnati or Pittsburgh. But if Baltimore doesn't take a step back, there's no way they lose this division.
Yeah, and Greg, as a Browns fan, I fucking hate the Steelers. I have no problem with Cincinnati. So I'm not looking to put that this isn't just like a hot take. I just think, yeah, like, and you could be right. Like, that would be the ultimate, like, hammer to fucking Tomlin if he has his best quarterback he's had in a decade and it's his only losing season, right? But I just have a feeling that these two guys are going to mesh well and they're going to pull it all together.
Let me make one argument, okay? And I'm not trying to sell you both on this, but then we'll move on to Keegan's division in a second. Let me make this argument. What do you think the Steelers gave up a game last year in points?
If you told me to guess?
Yeah.
22.5.
I'm going to say 19.
Very close, both of you. You're split the difference. You're about 20.5 points. Now, the awful Bengals defense, what do you think they gave up?
2 hand jobs and... sorry.
26
different defense.
20 what?
26.5.
Close. Jimmy?
I'll say, since that I know it's got to be lower than expecting, so I'll say 24.
25.5. Are you telling me you don't think the Cincinnati offense is 5 points better than the Steelers?
That's what I was going to ask you next. What did Pittsburgh... I know different situation for them last year with Russell Wilson, but they probably had to have averaged like 18 a game.
22, and the Bengals averaged almost 28.
Yeah. Makes sense.
That's not accounting for Aaron Rodgers now.
Yeah, I know.
The only problem with Rodgers, before we go down this rabbit hole to the north any further, is that Rodgers hates turning the ball over, so he doesn't take a lot of chances, right? And that's why he loses playoff games, because he plays them really, really safe, which is smart, but sometimes you've just got to let it rip. I don't know. I think with a really good defense, Rodgers and the Steelers could be good. Again, I'm rooting against it. We're clearly fighting an uphill battle because Vegas has the odds way better on Greg's argument. I understand all of that. I'm just saying, I think from the value standpoint, this is a tough division to bet because I'm not going to lay money with Baltimore because so many things can go wrong. It's tough for me to take Cincinnati with all the defensive woes they have, and they're injury prone on offense. Joe Burrow's hurt half the time. And then, the Steelers have a geriatric quarterback, even though I love him, and nobody citizen. Which brings me to my last point, and I'm done talking about this division. That's why the Browns are the best value at plus 4,000. Done.
All right. We got to move on to the AFC West because this is going to be the longest show in the history of our podcast, by the way. And it's going to go. It's fine. Time is not...
You can divide it up into chunks later.
That's what we'll do.
Yeah, it's fine.
Jimmy, I'm going to throw it because I know we have 3 different picks here on the AFC West, but I'm going to throw it to Jimmy first because I know his pick. So, Jimmy, tell me why the Chargers are going to win the AFC West.
The Chargers are going to win the West because it's Jim Harbaugh's second season. He's got, obviously not the best quarterback, but the second best quarterback in the division. He's got a great stable of backs, right? And that's what he wants to do. He wants to pound the rock. They're going to slow the game down. They're going to be good on defense. He's got a system in place. They're going to be a good team. All Harbaugh does is win everywhere he goes, and he's never had a quarterback as good as Justin Herbert, and he's managed to pull it off. So I don't – and look, if the Chiefs win it, because I know Keegan's going that way, will I be shocked? No. They find a way to do it every year. Patrick Mahomes is the greatest quarterback in the game. There's no real question there. I'm not going to argue. You're not going to hear an argument from me. I 100% all day. Patrick Mahomes is the guy. You ask me who I want quarterback in my team, I want Patrick Mahomes. Yeah. But I do think at some point,
he's the third best quarterback in the league going.
Yeah. I think at some point the team does take a step back. A lot of shit broke their way last year, right? Like a lot of those games, the Vegas game for God's sake, and the kick. Like there's a lot of games that went their way. Chargers are going to slow the game down. Justin Herbert's going to do that thing that winners do, where they finally figure out how to win, right? That happened to everybody. Well, Jordan had to get by the Pistons. He was clearly great, but he had to figure out how to win. That's Justin Herbert this year. He's clearly great, and right now he's going to figure out how to win.
All right, Jimmy brought us down a rabbit hole, and I'm going to have to take the bait. So you're telling me right now, you boys are walking up to the podium, hand Goodell a card, and it says, my first pick is Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah.
100% every time.
100%. Yeah.
No doubt.
Yeah, not even a question. It's not even close, Greg.
Oh, it's close. It's beyond close. And if it was Roger Goodell got the card from me, it'd say Greg Jackson picked with the first pick in the draft picks, quarterback, Cincinnati Bengals, Joe Burrow. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Did Joe Burrow not beat Patrick Mahomes in their one game in the championship? Or did he
beat
no,
their defense.
He did not beat.
Yeah.
Evan McPherson and Trey Hendrickson beat the.
Yes.
Well, you just told me Trey Henderson isn't a difference maker for Seattle.
No, it's only when they play the Chiefs. That's the only game he shows up for, which he's incredible against the Chiefs. We have not been able to stop him.
I think
the conversation really is, what do you value most at quarterback? Is Joe Burrow the most talented quarterback?
Yes,
he
Joe
could
Burrow
be.
won.
But Mahomes does it in every single way. He has won with the worst wide receiving core for 4 years now. Joe Burrow's had the best wide receiver duo, and probably he'll have when it's all said and done. Joe Burrow might have one of the best tandems in NFL history, and he's not going to win a Super Bowl out of it because they're just not their franchise. Mahomes find ways to win games that he should.
Yeah, Mahomes is the only one that does that too. You're right. Look, Patrick Mahomes.
Josh Allen, incredible year. 13 seconds. All it took was for Mahomes to beat
you
Josh
couldn't get
Allen.
over the hump. Mahomes is the only quarterback that's been paid a max contract and then gone out and won the Super Bowl. Everybody else wins with like the Jalen Hurts, where the guy's not on this crazy contract and they can pay everybody around him. Mahomes has taken unlikely people and drug them through the playoffs and won the Super Bowl. He's got whatever it is he's got. And I'm not, and to be clear, Keegan, I'll say it in front of you. I don't like Kansas. I'm not a Kansas City fan. I'm not but I will tell the truth. And yeah, I would want Patrick Mahomes every day as my quarterback. He's always available. He's always available. He never doesn't play. He plays every goddamn game. Ankle, no big deal.
Dislocated his meniscus and played 2 weeks later.
He plays every game.
And won the Super Bowl that year.
Joe Burrow won. Josh Allen too.
Now, I will say this. I do think Joe Burrow will have, again, this is why Patrick Mahomes is the best. He's going to have the year Patrick Mahomes had 2018 where he throws for 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. I do think that's on the table. Joe Burrow might put up the best statistical season we've seen of a quarterback. But Patrick Mahomes has also done that. Okay. Now, granted, he also had the perfect offense for it, just like Joe Burrow does.
I'm going to let you go last with this one, Keegan, because we know where you're going, and I want you to defend KC to me. Jimmy likes the Chargers. The Raiders, for me, hell no. I struggled, Jimmy, with the Chargers because I loved them in the beginning of the summer. I did. But the injuries they suffered in the preseason here, I don't know. I don't know. Love the coach. Don't know. KC, Keegan, I don't get it. You'll explain it to us in a minute. I don't understand how this team's good. I never understand how they're good. Travis Kelce, congratulations, sir. You've won at the Game of Life. You're a Hall of Famer. You've won 3 Super Bowls, and you're going to marry Taylor Swift. So you've won at life. I have no problem with Travis Kelce. I wish he was on a different team so I could like him more. But I'm rolling with Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos. It might not look sexy, boys, but it works. All Knicks has to do is manage the game, let the defense do their thing, and they're going to win this AFC West title. Love the Broncos. And if you got them at 300, I tip my cap to you. I'm riding them hard now, plus 250.
I think the Broncos, if you're not betting the Chiefs, I would agree with you. I think the Broncos are the play. I love Bo Nix. I thought coming into last year's draft, he was the best quarterback in the draft, just like Jackson Dart is the best quarterback in this draft, and they're third or fourth being drafted. Love Bo Nix. I think as he got comfortable in the first half of the season, he really started to pick it up. I think he was not known for being a big time arm throwing tons and tons of touchdowns, but had he played the full season um, with the pace he was on, he would have finished with over 30 passing touchdowns. Um, their offense has not gotten any worse at all over the last couple of years. Cortland Sutton, despite being in trade rumors for 2 years straight, just looks to continue to lock down the wide receiver one. Marvin Mims, fantastic. Troy Franklin gives him a nice, speedy guy. I like the running back room. I am so much higher on J.K. Dobbins this year than what the general public is giving him. I like R.J. Harvey, but I think Sean Payton's going to roll with J.K. Dobbins until Dobbins proves he can't do it. And that defense is insane. So that would be the pick I would argue too if I wasn't betting the Chiefs. But to me, the Chiefs are like the Patriots now. You can't bet against them until they lose the division. Once they lose the division, then sure, you can start talking about the other teams. But we've heard for 6 years straight, oh, Justin Herbert's going to be the guy to get it done. Oh, now they got John Harbaugh and Justin Herbert. It's going to be a tremendous pairing. These two are going to get it done. Andy Reid does not lose divisions lightly. Everything has gone wrong in so many seasons, and the Chiefs still win. Now, I will give everyone the argument last year that the Chiefs got lucky, and the Broncos, they win a game on a blocked field goal attempt. Vegas screws everything up, and they get sacked. I get that, but I've said this to you before, and I'll continue saying it. There is not a team in all of professional sports, to my knowledge, that prepares the way the Chiefs do, top to bottom in every capacity. They will tell you that block kick happened in Denver not by luck. It was by watching film, and they saw that one spot on the line of the guard was the weak line of it, and Leo Chenal jumped the gap as quickly as he could. So the Chiefs are always going to be the pick for me, obviously, as the homer, but until somebody proves otherwise, the Chiefs are going to win. And even with Rashee Rice out for a good chunk of the season, that's a major loss. I think it's going to be a blessing in disguise to other aspects of this team. Xavier Worthy, if you haven't drafted him in your fantasy leagues yet and you still have a couple of drafts left, you need to, because he is going to jump up boards really quickly now as the wide receiver one, and he's going to have a heavy, heavy target share. But you can't bet against the Chiefs until they lose. That's as simple as that.
So we got 3 different picks for you here: Chargers, Denver, and the Chiefs. So dealer's choice here. All right. 2 questions.
Hey, by the way, real quick, completely side note, because he brought up Bo Nix, but his adopted stepbrother, Tez Johnson, that's a late sleeper for me. The Bucs kept him on the roster. He looked awesome in that last preseason game. He was awesome in college, especially if you're in a keeper league. This is a guy to take a flyer on late. We expect Tampa's offense to be good. Tez Johnson could be a sleeper.
Jimmy coming through with a late sleeper. All right. 2 questions before we move on to our Super Bowl matchups. 1, Jimmy, what did you replace the Blantons with? I saw you pour another bottle out there. What'd you go with?
Oh, it's some Woodford. I'm just too lazy to get up and go back there. Woodford's a good after a couple Blantons.
And then to the 2 of you, what is it with from 7:45 to 8:30 when you have kids? Why is that their meltdown 45 minutes?
Because it's what happens. They're psychopaths.
Going through it right now.
Yeah.
That's why I ask. I hear it in Keegan's background. We heard it in Jimmy's when we kicked off the show.
Yeah, Keegan's in Central Time, so he's a little behind. Like he's right. My kids are finally they got the old whiskey gums going on probably right now upstairs. Probably not, but with my wife. But yeah.
But yeah, Keegan's was exactly an hour later. It's crazy. What is it with that? I don't know what it is with that time frame.
The witching hour.
When the sun goes down.
Said, hey, my dad's doing something he enjoys. I'm going to fuck this up.
Fantastic.
Let me see how I can ruin this time. I've already taken all his money. I'm going to...
What is your Super Bowl matchup and who wins?
Me?
Yeah, you're Jimmy, so yes.
Sorry. I was listening to kids screaming. Here's my Super Bowl matchup. It's the Bills and it's the Lions. And somebody's going to finally get a title.
Love it.
Wish I could say one of the other teams hadn't won. The Browns were in it, but I can't.
So who gets the title?
The Lions.
All right.
The Lions do it. The Lions win. I'm sad to say it. I would be happy for either team. I grew up near Buffalo. Detroit's a Detroit, but I think the Lions get over the hump, and I think it's wild that they do it when Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson leave and two first-year coordinators get rings.
I think Keegan lost power, but the generator kicked on. Keegan, who do you have there?
Obviously the Chiefs on
And
the AFC side for sure. I think one thing I didn't mention, and I do think this actually is a talking point. The off the field distractions of Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift is a lot, but I think Travis knows this is his last year, even though he's not talking about it vocally out loud. I think he's going to be so freaking locked in, and they are going to spread the ball around and keep him healthy, and he's in the best shape he's been in several years. So I think they're going to be locked in and loaded. Mahomes is one of those guys that takes notes and remembers, and is going to come back with a vengeance. It was a disgusting Super Bowl appearance that we had this last year. So I think they get back in there because that's what they do. They go to AFC Championship. So you have to bet the Chiefs are a good one to bet because they are in a Super Bowl every year, every other year. NFC side, man, I think the NFC is legitimately wide open. I love the Lions. I really want to see that this last year. They are certainly a good pick for that. I think Dan Campbell, like you said, one of the best coaches in the NFL. If I had to pick somebody else, I still like the Rams. I think Sean McVay, really, really good coach, and could find a way that if things break their way, if the Commanders, play an ugly game in the playoffs and the Eagles just look like, their Super Bowl hangover, they're one of the teams that is structured to win in the playoffs. Again, assuming Matthew Stafford's back is fine. But outside of that, I mean, there's really nobody else in the NFC that you feel that confident with, I think.
all right. Fair enough. Here's my comment back on the Taylor Swift. She's not a distraction. For the love of Christ, she should be your wide receivers coach. She's breaking down cover twos, and I mean, did you hear her on the podcast? She might know more than me about football at this point. I cheated. Here's where I'm going. I'm going to give you a bunch of picks, but I truly bet all these, so I thought it was worth giving them out. I'm wheeling the Lions with the Bengals and the Bills. So if you bet Lions-Bengals Super Bowl, 80-1. Lions-Bills is 28-1. And then I'm wheeling the combinations. Bills over Lions, 45-1. Lions over Bills, 50-1. Lions over Bengals, 150-1. And Bengals over Lions, 160-1. Bet them all, so I thought I'd give them all out. Those are my picks. That's what I bet. You truly think we're going to get the Lions in the Super Bowl against either the Bills or the Bengals? And yes, I said the Bengals. It would not shock me at all if the Bengals are in the Super Bowl.
So I'll say this. Greg clearly loves the Bengals, and Keegan, you love the Chiefs, and I understand that. You're a Kansas City guy. I think the bad argument for Kansas City is the Travis Kelce argument. Because I agree with you, Keegan. Like, it's tough to bet against them until they lose a division. It's tough to bet against them getting the Super Bowl until they don't do it. But the idea, this happens to old guys all the time. Best shape of my life. Hey, let's slow it down, Travis. I know you are. You're still slower than you were, right? And you're still not the same player you were. So I don't care how much you can bench press or how your six-pack looks. Taylor appreciates it. And so does our billions of dollars. You hit a home run. And God bless them both. But that worries me, right? Like, I don't like that part of the argument because Travis. I think the fact that they're tooled up, right? They've got good players. I don't think Rashee Rice matters either. I think you're right about that. And I really wouldn't bet against them. I think the Chargers could do it because I believe in Harbaugh. But if the Chiefs won and they went to the Super Bowl, would I be shocked? Absolutely not. But I don't like the Travis Kelce argument because I hear that shit all the time from old people. Best shape of my life. Sure you are. Hey, I saw your fiscal. Your doctor just put you on statins. Settle down and eat some greens.
Yeah, you're not wrong. All right, let's go some awards. MVP, I think you both know where I'm going here. It's Joe Burrow, not even a question. Keegan, who you got for MVP?
I do like Burrow. I don't think they win enough games to win MVP.
Really? You don't think 12's enough? But okay, go ahead.
I don't, because the Chiefs are going to win 13 games. The Bills are going to win 13 games. The Ravens, if they have their year, they'll win 12-plus games. So I'm going to stick at the homer here. I think Mahomes is super motivated and puts together his 2018 season. So I like him better at whatever his.
You have no receivers. Who's he throwing it to?
Doesn't matter.
Here's what's wild about the MVP.
When
right?
Rashee Rice does come back, Rashee Rice will be a top 5 fantasy wide receiver the rest of the season. So he's going to put up ridiculous
There's only
numbers.
like 5 players that Vegas legit think can win it, right? Because after that, it dropped. The odds get wild. So that being said, yeah, Burrow's not a bad pick. Like Mahomes isn't a bad pick. There's obviously Lamar's not a bad pick, but so I'm going to give you value plays here because it drops so incredibly fast. Here's my value plays. Jane Daniels, because if I'm wrong and he doesn't have a sophomore slump, he could win it at 850. Number 2, I'm going to give you Jared Goff at 3,000 because he was in the conversation up till week 12 or 13 last year. And number 3, my guy, Aaron Rodgers. What if he comes out and goes 45-5 at 50,000? Everybody's laughing now. What if it happens? He could do it. I think we talk about all these quarterbacks. Rodgers has always boxed in the playoffs. But all the stats you threw out about Mahomes and what he does, that's what Rodgers did. Rodgers has the best touchdown interception ratio ever. He can't move like he did, but he came on last year, and I think at 50-1, why not throw $10 on it and see what happens? Those are my value plays. I digress.
There's a better chance of Jesus Christ himself taking a snap this year in the NFL than Rodgers winning the MVP.
No, you know what there's a better chance at?
They won't score.
Michael Penix, because he's plus 5,500, and Derrick Henry
Baker
at
Mayfield.
6,000.
Baker Mayfield plus 2,500.
Yeah, I'd rather go Baker over.
I would love to do it. I just don't think Baker would ever get the credit, right? It's still a voting thing, right? That's the problem. You got to think about MVP. It's not stat based. It's still a public voting on thing. They're not going to vote for Baker unless he completely dominates the competition. He's just never going to do that. Same with Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, you think, okay, at plus 2,000, but it's just not going to happen that way, especially the way they play football. Like, he's never going to be the only reason they win all these games. I think Jaden Daniels could wow people, and it could happen. And again, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Lamar, there's just not a value there. They're the only 4 people outside of Jaden Daniels. It goes from 850 to Jaden Daniels to number 6, Jalen Hurts at 18. I mean, it completely falls off the face of the earth, right?
All right. There's the MVP picks. Offensive player of the year. This usually goes to the best non-quarterback. For me, this was a very simple pick. And God, when I saw the odds, I was like, wow, this is just a great year for me. Bijan Robinson's winning this award at 15-1. Oh my God, am I going to love cashing this ticket because I already put $100 on it. He is the only player on the Falcons who is probably going to score consistently, and I think 15-1 is a gift. This guy's going to run for 1,500 yards or more. He's going to receive another 500, if not more. He's going to score 20.
I agree with you, with a caveat of there's an outside chance Jamar Chase at 850 pulls it off with that offense. So I think, yeah, Derrick Henry, Jahmyr Gibbs, Barkley, JJ, I think Bijan or Jamar. I can't believe Puka Nacua is the 6 on the board. That's insane. I'll take
worst bet on the board.
Yeah,
Devontae Adams is going to take so many targets. Puka doesn't finish top 10 fantasy wide receiver either.
Agree, Keegan. Who's your offensive player, Keegan?
I think just to be different, I like Bijan and Gibbs as my 2. I think Gibbs he's getting more of the workload in the preseason and practice. David Montgomery is so touchdown dependent, and if they start using Gibbs in the red zone more, then that just ups his potential there. But just to be different, CeeDee Lamb plus 2,000.
That was my second choice.
I do think Dak Prescott's going to have a bounce back season. If he's healthy, he could easily go for 45 touchdowns, 4,500 yards, and CeeDee Lamb could have a 1,500 yard, 20 touchdown season. So he's the other one. I do find it interesting that Christian McCaffrey's as high up as he is with his injury concerns, but if he is healthy, there's no reason he can't have a massive bounce back because they're going to force feed him. Yep. So the stats will be there. It's
a good pick. Defensive player of the year. This is not going to surprise anyone for me. It's also the comeback player of the year too. Love Aiden Hutchinson plus 700 and then plus 260 as comeback player of the year. Lock it up for me. I think that's the best play on the board.
I love it as comeback player of the year. Myles Garrett won't win it because Cleveland's going to be terrible. So that's the same problem with Max Crosby. The outside chance that I gave that they make the playoffs might get him in there, but I doubt. I highly doubt it. I'm going to go with TJ Watt. I'm going to stick with the Steelers at 950. Look, Patrick Surtain should probably win it, but a cornerback never will because nothing happens when you're that good. Like, nothing ever happens anywhere near you. But if we were going to be real and and nobody throws him the ball or throws the ball to his receiver. And what the few times they do, they don't catch it. We'd give it to Patrick Surtain II. He should be the defensive player of the year, but because it will never go to a cornerback, it's not going to happen. Cooper DeJean, my God, if we overvalue white guys who play DB, I don't know, like how his odds are where they are, maybe for the voters' perspective. Like, I don't understand that line. A couple of other ones either. I don't get it. Dexter Lawrence, 6,000, no. So I'm going to go TJ Watt, 950. Assuming he stays healthy, he could have a monster year.
Yeah, I think both of you, those are the, again, I'll be curious to see when they update the odds for Micah Parsons because he's still listed on the Cowboys. He's plus 500, has the shortest odds to win it. But the Lions have the best chance of being the best team on the NFC side. And if Aiden Hutchinson is close to 15 sacks and plays the full year, he's definitely there. I think if you had to go somewhere else, if the Eagles do play as good as they could, Jalen Carter's not a bad one, but
Yeah, I'd
rather take a flyer like a Will Anderson, just has a monster season on the edge. But again, not to be a homer, but Chris Jones at plus 5,000, I don't mind that. Kansas City's defensive line is much better this year than people realize. They've got some serious depth, and Jones was on pace to be a top 5 defensive player of the year last year. So don't mind that. But no, this isn't really this one I don't love a lot. So I would go Aiden Hutchinson or TJ Watt for sure.
All right.
I do like the Abdul Carter at 10,000. What if he's just an absolute stud?
Could be. I love that's the best value play I think on the board. All right, coach of the year. For me, this shouldn't be a shock because I think they're going to win the West, and that's Sean Payton. I think if Denver wins the West, Sean Payton gets coach of the year. I think he can get to 11-6, and at 14-1, sign me up.
This award, I hate this award because it always goes to the team that was the worst the year before and new head coach makes them mediocre
That's a good point.
or average. I hate that because
that's why Vrabel's a good bet, right?
Andy Reid should be a coach of the year finalist every single year with what he does. He consistently
there's the homer angle.
But that's not how this award goes. So yes,
he's always the second best coach in the league behind Dan Campbell. Go ahead. Your point.
I like Mike Vrabel at the plus 750. I think the Patriots are going to flirt with a wild card spot this year. He's a crafty. I mean, he's a Bill Belichick type guy. You see him smirking there on the sideline because he knows the game so well that he's going to find a way to make your life miserable. I don't think the Bears win enough for Ben Johnson to get coach of the year. That's just a really tough division, and they're going to finish fourth. Yeah. Aaron Glenn, I was a little surprised he's top 4 because the Jets are not going to be good at all. But yeah, I like Mike Vrabel, and then Jonathan Gannon plus 1,400. If Cardinals go out and win the NFC West and win 10, 11 games, why not?
Great. It's a great pick by Keegan. I wrote Vrabel down, but I just like the value on Peyton better. Go ahead, Jimmy.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I'm going to go with my surprise wild card team. Pete Carroll plus 1,600. Comes back to the league. Great coach. Oldest coach in the game. Got a solid setup there. Plus 1,600. Jimmy Pete Carroll. Tell me if I'm right and they're our surprise team and they somehow pull a wild card, which I know is wild, you're telling me Pete Carroll's not the coach of the year?
I'm telling you he's not a great coach. That's what I'm telling you. Pete Carroll is maybe the most overrated
coach
of all
the year
time.
To a wild card team. You just can't.
Yeah, you can. You 100% can. You have a team that's terrible that overachieves. You can be the coach of the year. Happens all the time.
You tell me
not Kevin O'Connell. Jesus Christ, the Cleveland coach. I don't know why. Kevin Stefanski's been the coach of the year twice. They've never won a fucking division.
Good point.
Jimmy, you can't call anyone a good coach who has literally Marshawn Lynch sitting in the backfield. He's like, hey, 1st and goal from the 1 centimeter line. Let's pass.
You're not wrong, and that's going to haunt him forever. And it should. But I'm telling you, that's the value on the board.
No, the value is Sean Payton, but I get what you're saying.
Matt LaFleur.
Yeah. Sean Payton, 14-1, has a better team.
The problem with LaFleur is that it's not great value now because they're going to win. You know what I mean? They're you got to look at a team like Pete Carroll. Like, I don't think LaFleur, if they win the division, is still going to be considered for coach of the year because they're supposed to win the division, right? Like, that's the way I look at this. I think Liam Cohen at 3rd longest odds. What do you think he's going to do with fucking Trevor Lawrence? Like, turn him into like New Age Jesus with his hair? I don't understand what we're talking about here.
if you're truly betting this award, I think one thing that you have to remember is who does the media like? And that's, to me,
That's good.
Keegan's pick. I think Vrabel is loved by most. So if the Patriots make a run at the wild card and finish with a winning record, I think that's one of the reasons Vrabel's one of the favorites.
If the Patriots win get into the playoffs, Vrabel 100% wins Coach of the Year.
All right. Offensive Rookie of the Year. I'm going to throw it to you two first because I have a long shot. Go ahead, Jimmy.
I mean, Genty's the easy answer.
Yep.
The problem is I thought Cam Ward would be farther down the board, but he's not. I think he would have been earlier. I do think Cam Ward's going to have a good rookie year. Everything coming out of that camp says he's going to be pretty good, right? But I'm going to go a little farther down the board to Matthew Golden. I think Jordan Love's the real deal if he can stay healthy. I think Romeo Doubs is just good enough to take some pressure off him on the other side. I know Christian, what's his name, is hurt. But I think Matthew Golden, I'm not going to say he doesn't set rookie records. Doesn't do anything crazy. But I think he has a 1,000-yard season, and he wins Rookie of the Year.
What do you think, Keegan?
I've been back and forth. I don't want to take Genty because it's too easy. Even at plus 250, it's not bad odds. But I've been looking at Travion Henderson just with the big upplay, the big play potential he's got. And honestly, if Travis Hunter is playing both ways and looks above average at corner and scores 3 to 5 touchdowns on offense and 500 plus yards, it's the same thing as the Heisman. How do you not give it to a guy that does it both ways? Because you just never see it. So I don't even think Hunter has to have that great of a year statistically to where he can still win it. But I like Travion Henderson. I like the Matthew Golden one a lot too. And wouldn't be shocked. He'd have to put up some crazy numbers when he finally takes over. But if Jackson Dart does take over by week 5, week 6, he could be what Bo Nix was towards the second half of last year too and put up some crazy numbers.
My man Keegan just gave you my pick. My pick is 25-1 Jackson Dart because I think he's going to be in week 3 or 4, and I think he's going to put up better numbers than any other rookie quarterback that might get a shot this year. So, and because I think, Jimmy, your team's going to start a rookie quarterback too at some point. I think Dylan Gabriel or Sanders will be in there. But I think if Jackson Dart gets in by week 4, he's going to win this award at 25-1.
I don't hate the argument, but he's got to be in by then, right? That's the big deal. It's got to happen. That's the problem with the line on this is he's got to be in by week 4.
Jimmy, what if he gets in right after the bye, but he throws 25 touchdowns to 3 interceptions?
Good. It just depends on what the other guys do, right? That's the problem. You're not competing against yourself. You're competing against everybody else. What if Matthew Golden has 1,200 yards and 90 receptions as a rookie, or Genty runs for 1,600? That's the issue, right? He might have a great year in a vacuum, but looking at it as a whole, comparatively, he might still lose the award.
But wouldn't he get a little bit of an edge being a quarterback?
Yes, and what's more impressive, if Cam Ward has a decent season with 17 games, or Jackson Dart plays 10 games, goes 6-4 on a terrible team, and throws 20 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
I mean, he's got some weapons.
Agree, but if you're talking about the best rookie quarterback, you'd have an argument. But when you're looking at the offensive rookie of the year, or I think it's got it's a lot more nuanced.
It is, but don't ever discount that Jackson Dart plays in New York City. Well, he plays in New Jersey, but you know what I'm saying. He really plays in New York.
Giants.
So that the bias, the New York bias, will be there. So if he gets in even week 6, 7, whatever right after the bye, and he has a great year, 25-1, I think is a great price.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I'll hit you with defensive rookie of the year first because I'm munching the chalk here, and normally I don't do it. But I will literally be shocked if Abdul Carter doesn't win this award at plus 225. Does anyone disagree?
Yeah, I mean, it's just the odds are stacked against everyone else. And Travis Hunter could if 2 things happen. 1, again, they paid more attention to corners, and 2, he didn't also play offense. I would think Travis Hunter would be very comparable there. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Abdul Carter's got to win. Mason Graham plays interior line. Like, he's not gonna There's
Yeah, that's tough.
there's no sizzle there. So yeah, no, Abdul Carter probably wins, which is why I would avoid it because I don't think plus 225 against the field. I mean, he gets hurt and that's it, right? So I would avoid the defensive player of the year.
Same.
Avoid for both. All right.
Yeah, I mean, again, 185 is not enough to, unless you're gonna throw several units at it. You're better off taking a long shot on a different award and putting more of your attention that way.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to happen. I certainly hope it doesn't. But you're an injury away from that going up in flames. This isn't baseball. It's not basketball. This is football, right? Like, that's a lot of money to lay on one person versus the field for an award.
Well,
and like I said, that D line is so good that maybe that hurts his chances statistically because the rest of the line eats. But no, he's the best defensive player out of this group by far.
If he gets 10 sacks, he's he's gonna win. And I think he will get 10 sacks. And I got a parlay with a lot of stuff we talked about tonight. I got Carter with Bijan with Vrabel, and 20 pays about $9,000. So
Carter.
I like it. Yeah,
Okay.
that's solid.
Early in the year, and I got Bijan at 27-1 when it first came out. So, anyways, let's end the show with some college week 1 picks. Keegan, is there anything you love on the board this week?
Let me pull mine up real quick. Great slate of games.
Great
for
slate.
Sure.
Good week.
Ohio State, Texas to kick things off Saturday morning. Fantastic.
While you're looking, my only issue with Ohio State and Texas is I still don't understand why this didn't get the 7:30 or 8 o'clock slot. I don't know why we're starting at high noon, but
that's because they have your boy Brian Kelly playing Clemson.
They do, but what game do you think's better? I would have put LSU Clemson slotted at 3:30. Boom, Ohio State Texas, the night game. That
should have been the night game.
Should have been the night game.
No, I don't really have a ton of plays I really like, other than your usual Ole Miss to cover, Oregon to cover in week 1 because that's just what they do. I do think the LSU Clemson game is very interesting. I've been back and forth on this one. LSU on paper, I think, is better than their 9 ranking next to them. But again, it's Brian Kelly in a big game to start the year. So history tells us Clemson's going to cover the 4.5. Outside of that, I don't have much that I love this week. Maybe Iowa State minus 16.5, South Dakota at home, coming back from overseas. They want to prove that they didn't just sneak a win out against K-State. Rocco Beck's going to have a better game, so I could see that one really taking off. And then the other one I do like Indiana to cover 23.5 against Old Dominion. I think Indiana also wants to say, hey, last year wasn't a fluke. We're a good team, and even though 23.5 point spread, like I wish I had the data in front of me that says top 25 teams historically that cover the spread week 1. I'd love to see what that number is because I would think a majority of them always cover, if not double it.
So, Greg, I'll go briefly, but I actually agree with Keegan. Indiana was one of the games I looked at. I know we talked about them, but I think it's somewhat of a fluke the season they had last year. But I don't think they're letdowns against Old Dominion, and I think they dominate this game. And I think Sig Zignetti would get a great soundbite from him again. So I agree with that absolutely. I'd love to give out my other play that I gave out before on our pick 6 Buffalo, but that game's underway and it looks good right now. I like Buffalo plus the 16.5. They're down 7-3 at halftime. Hopefully that continues and hits. I like Miami getting 2.5 at home. Notre Dame. Beck is going to make a really strong case for why he's a Heisman candidate. Going to show that he was a true national champion. And I don't think Notre Dame's going to go in to Coral Gables and get it done. And I like LSU. Keegan mentioned it. I know you're going to mention it probably as well, Greg. I think LSU, I know Clemson's turned a lot of players. The whole thing. Brian Kelly gets over the snide. He gets off I lose the opening game. He finally gets one done. So take the money line if you want to, but I'll take the 4 points.
Yep. I'll give out my plays, and since Jimmy brought it up, I'll mess them a little bit, Keegan. He gave out a pick that started before I would ever post our picks in 6, which I thought was funny. He gave out Buffalo, which It's going to look good when we post it, but everyone's going to say, is this guy kidding?
I gave it before, recorded it well before the game started.
Well, not well before, about 30 minutes before. It's fine.
30 minutes before. You should be get a faster producer.
I 100% agree with LSU. Like, this is the year that Kelly's finally going to win a week 1 game. If you're ballsy enough to take the money line, take the money line. But 4.5 or 4, whatever you can get. To me, there's so many scenarios here that line up in LSU's favor. First of all, Nussmeier's not going to be intimidated by the big spot going into Clemson. He plays in the SEC. He's a great quarterback. He's got a chance to win the Heisman. He might win the Heisman because all LSU does is give quarterbacks to win the Heisman, right? Burrow, Daniels, and probably Nussmeier. Clemson's D is fantastic. I'm not sitting here saying Clemson's defense is not great. They are. But Nussmeier and that LSU offense is special, and they can move the ball on anybody, in my opinion. And they're getting 4.5. I think this is going to be a very competitive game that could be decided by 3 points. And there's also the scenario that maybe Clemson gets up 31-21. And then they go into a prevent with 3 minutes to go, and Nussmeier picks them apart, boom, 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 scores the touchdown, and LSU loses by 3, but you get the win. So you want to give me LSU and that team and that quarterback plus 4.5, I take them all day. I agree with Jimmy with Miami. It's another year with both these teams. They got national championship hopes on their mind. ND made a run last year, came up short. Miami freaking collapsed down the stretch after starting undefeated. It's just the crystal ball, just for some reason, just does have no luck. Every time this guy's in a close game, he doesn't win it. I think maybe this changes this year. I love the fact that they start at home. I love the fact that they put Beck in there, a champion, to replace Ward. I love Miami at home. I think the fans go home happy. I think the Canes win. 2.5. I don't think you need to take the 2.5. I don't think it even comes into play. I think you can take the Miami money line, get a little plus money. I think the Canes win. UNC. I gave this one out too. Here's my UNC TCU prediction for Keegan, who hasn't heard this yet. Keegan, for me, it's simple. TCU is a better team on both sides of the ball. No question about it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you they're not. Here's the thing. The hoodie, his first game, at home. He's had 6 months to prepare. Keegan, are you betting against the hoodie? Getting 3.5 at home? Not me.
Not at home.
Hell no. I'm going to give out UCLA. Home dogs have been very, very good in these spots. Just ask Boise State, who just got destroyed by South Florida. Everything here points to UCLA for me. They were better down the stretch last year, and Utah was in this similar spot 2 years ago going on the road week 1 in Florida, and they got the hell beat out of them. Now, I don't think UCLA has the firepower to blow them out, but I do think they're good enough to keep this competitive and absolutely cover. If you can get 6 or 6.5 like I did earlier in the year, grab them. Even at 5.5, which it currently sits right now, take UCLA. I think it's a competitive game. I think UCLA keeps this one close. And I'm going to end with this. I saved this one for last. Texas, Ohio State. Texas is in prime position to win this game. Manning is the best player on the field, and it's not even close. He is the best player. He is. He's not going to be intimidated in that horseshoe. Again, it's called the horseshoe because you're lucky if you get to go there because you can beat Ohio State there. It's not a great home field advantage. Okay? Keegan, if you haven't heard already, the reason Michigan calls it the big house is because you're going to jail. You're going to get kicked in the nuts. Horseshoe, you're lucky. You go there, you get a win. All right. Texas returns 7 starters on a great defense who only gave up under 16 points a game last year. Plus, they have this game circled. It's a revenge game. They lost 28-14 in the semis last year, and they all remember it. They are going to go into the horseshoe and get a win. I'm betting the experience of Texas here. It's going to be a massive play for me. 13 to 15 units. Hook 'em horns. This is how I'm going to fund my account for the year. Ohio State and Brutus can lick me. They suck. I don't even think they're a top 10 team. I don't even understand this line. Texas is going to go in there and destroy them. Go ahead.
Are you taking Texas money line then?
I'll take Texas minus 6.5 for the alternate spread.
Alternate spread. Okay.
I love it.
I agree with you. If you think they're going to win, they're probably going to win by at least 3.5. So why not take the 6 points there? I like it.
Yeah.
I do think, I don't know if there's a quarterback that's going to come into a college football. No, there are some, but the amount of pressure that I think is going to be put on Arch Manning coming in from the public, because it's, hey, it is now your time to shine. That's a lot to live up to. But he's never really like he doesn't have that kind of ego. So I think he's just going to go out there and play football. So
This kid doesn't worry about pressure. His
no,
uncles are Super Bowl champions. He's been dealing with it his whole life.
Yeah, he's going to be fine.
and it's first time Julian Sands playing a game like this too. So they lost a lot of talent.
It should be the night game. It should be the night game. But
All
Texas
right.
is going to win.
Longest show in the history of the podcast. We appreciate it. Keegan will post this on KC Sports Authority. Again, if you like the show, do what it says on the bottom there. Hit that like and subscribe button. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, do us a favor. Follow us on YouTube at Who You Got 33, as our shorts are really taking off. We got a lot of views there. Join the party. Tell me I suck. Do whatever the trolls do. It's all fun. I'll respond to you. It's a good time, right, Jimmy?
That's right.
Follow us on X and Instagram at Who You Got 33. And at gmail.com as well, Who You Got 33. Please email us. Let us know your questions, your comments, your concerns. Again, tell us we suck. We'll always call you out on the show. We love that. We love the trolls, right, Jimmy?
Love them.
All right, Keegan, tell us what they can get on KC Sports Authority.
Yep, KC Sports Authority. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify. We do a lot of the local Kansas City area sports. I actually have a lot of fun things potentially in the works. Some conversations happening behind closed doors to get us a leg up in our future on the podcast. But yeah, we're going to be doing a weekly KU football show every single week during football season. Of course, that'll blend into basketball. Still a little bit of Royals talk as we wind down baseball. A lot of fantasy football. And a little bit more sports betting stuff this year as we talk. But it's gonna be a lot of KU football for sure, because this is a fun season for us, and looking forward to it.
It's going to be fantastic. Keegan gives a lot of good information out for the local sports teams, and he's going to get Bill Self on the show, and I'm going to join, and we're going to interview him. It's going to be great. I'm going to explain to him why Kentucky is the greatest program of all time, and Keegan and him are going to explain why it's Kansas. It's going to be the best show ever. All right, boys. Any final words before I close us out?
One
Football's
week
back.
till football.
Well, football starts this week, Jimmy. That's right.
It
right.
does
Football
start
starts
this week.
now.
Your college football starts this week. But 1 week till the NFL.
All right, setting up our next week, we're going to, again, the NFL's back, like Jimmy said. So next week, we'll have 2 episodes for you. We'll cover Survivor, the contest picks. When you're up against a spread, you pick 5. That's a big thing for everybody. We'll give you out our favorite picks for college and the pros. We'll tell you who we think is going to get in the end zone. We'll give you all that stuff next week, and college week 2 picks, of course, NFL week 1 picks. And I usually close this show out with a line. We all know what it is, but I'm going to close out a little different this week, right, Jimmy? You know what's never over but always under, Keegan? The Ohio State win total. Hook 'em horns. That's all we got for you, and now it is over.